Is this thing working? Are we live? Looks like we're live. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. If indeed you are new to the channel, you're just stumbling across this, trying to figure out why is it that there is a bald man with glasses that is spectacularly put together with a weird looking t-shirt. Y'all know I'm kidding. No, this channel pretty much is a background noise generator. Most of the time, guys have this channel on, especially the live shows while something else is going on. The live show gives me an opportunity to interact with you guys directly, provided that our feed stays intact. It's been kind of sketchadelic lately, but it allows me to interact with you guys directly, talk about different upcoming bikes that I might be doing ride along videos, and also gives me an opportunity to talk to you guys about different bikes that may be making it on and into the stable. So onto the channel, into the stable. What am I up to? What's my mindset behind it? Well, we can chat about that as well. Marco is in. What is going on, man? Oh, got the flex. I like it. So Marco's asking, did you see the Ram 1500 5.7 Whippled at Roadkill? No, I did not. I didn't because I am really no longer all that interested nor affiliated with the Mopar brand, which is a real shame. So I guess we can talk about that for a hot minute. I have basically walked away from anything Dodge related, and it's a real bummer because, man, that's a brand that used to put food on the table for me. And the issue with me with that brand in particular is that I really don't have anything fun or new to talk about. And it's really not a me thing. It's a you thing when it comes to Mopar. And I hate that. I really do. And when Dodge decides they want to make something that's worth chatting about, I'll be more than happy to imbibe. But the thing is if Dodge is never going to give us something like, a Whippled 5.7 for an option for a truck coming up, maybe something a little bit smaller, something more practical, something more realistic when it comes to pricing for the car side. Yeah, maybe I'll get back on board then. But it was pretty easy when everybody went nuts with pricing. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's where I'm at with all of that. Plus, I'm having a ball doing riding reviews with motorcycles, and that has been my biggest passion. And that's one that I'm glad that I circled back around to. I've had a great run with Dodge. Time for me to get to it and get to work with the bikes. And the other thing too is the Dodge content on the channel had absolutely stagnated, flatline across the board. And that doesn't work when you're a YouTubeist, somebody that's putting out content. You got to keep putting out stuff that people want to see. And quite honestly, the passion kind of went away with that. So we're talking about bikes now, which is for me a lot more fun because for me, bikes are a lot more fun. And speaking of bikes, okay, so updates as far as which bikes I've done riding reviews on. I can tell you this right now. The XSR 900, it's like, I'm in love with an XR, but I'm also in love with a Gixxer. So I don't really know. I'm kind of torn right now with that bike. And I got to say, it's one of these types of bikes where you ride it and you go, oh, yeah, I get it. I haven't done the ride and review. Oh, I've done the ride and review. I haven't done the post-ride review on that bike yet. And the reason why is I almost want to sleep on it, because if I jump on this thing and do a post-ride review on the XSR 900 right now, you're going to think that I bought the bike. I mean, it's really a little bit over the top. And the XSR 900 for me was one of those kind of bikes where it was like, I've got to ride this thing, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to develop a really good argument either for or against the R9, the MT-09, or the XSR 900, which obviously are completely different mission statements than the R9. But I've got to admit, there is a bike out there that I did a ride and review on, and I kind of eerily fell in love with. And I'm going to be talking about this bike because there is a better than really good chance that this bike could be making it into the stable soon. And and I don't want to get it like, I don't want to blow this bike out of context, but I will say this. It's the bike that shoved the GSXR 750 kind of out of bed with me. So let me check in with you guys and we're going to start talking about this bike because I think it would be a worthwhile bike for the channel. I think that it would get quite a bit of love on the channel. So let's see. DM is in. Got the bald guy with the flex and the specs. I like it. Sam's in. So you have a chance to buy a CR 500. Oh, yes. That very awesome bike. I'm very tempted to buy this red 94 Dodge Ram 1500 and build a Dorothy. Go for it. I don't know what a Dorothy is, but cheers on that. So getting to it. Bike potentially for the channel. This is a bike that I did a ride and review on, and it's one of those kind of bikes where I really shouldn't have ridden it. It's a lot like the XSR 900, at least in that respect. I can tell you that there's a lot about the XSR 900 that I didn't like. And so I do want to talk a little bit about that on the live show. That way, if any of you guys do stumble across the post-ride review, you'll kind of get a bit of a sense of where I'm going from. And this is where the live show lets me expand upon topics that will end up just getting real garbled up in a post-ride review. When I got to do like a 5-minute kind of a tight video, I don't really get a chance to expand or go into details about some of the things that I'm talking about. So the XSR 900, awesome bike. I mean, the minute I got done riding that bike, I was already looking up tail cowls, different handlebar setups, exhausts, tunes, air boxes, fly shields, or, the little cowl for the front. I immediately started looking up stuff for that bike because the XSR 900 did something that no other motorcycle that I've ridden, except for maybe one or two, have done for me anyway in a long time. And that surprised me. So let me walk you through the other bikes that have surprised me. The Indian Challenger surprised me with how well that bike performed, way better than it really should have. Another bike that surprised me was the Tuono V4. That bike had way more tip-in torque than it had any right to have. So let me tell you where the XSR 900 surprised me. That bike, and this is all real talk, boys, that bike has better tip-in torque response than my GSXR 1000. That bike has more street grunt than pretty much any of the leader class sport naked bikes, far more than the middleweights. It was weird in that respect. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the more you cranked on the throttle, the more the thing just absolutely flew, but it was the initial hit, that initial roll into the throttle that was so impressive with that bike. And for me, that's something that is remarkable about that CP3 engine. You always hear about how torquey it is, but unless you've ridden a bike with that engine, it's not going to sink in. Your brain isn't going to be able to function and process what torquey means. Yeah, go find an MT-09, an XSR 900, or an R9 for that matter, and you'll get a pretty good idea as far as what torquey means. And you'll get a very good idea for what it's like to ride a Triumph Daytona 955. Because I got to tell you, as weird as this is going to sound, if you're to take Dad's bike, take about 50 pounds out of it and send it out into the world, you've got yourself an R9. It's basically a CP3 blueprint. It just happened to exist about 28 years ago. But the point that I'm making is that it is that good. I mean, you guys have heard me just wax nostalgic every time I ride that bike about how good it is, that tip in torque and everything that is so luscious about that. And you get it all for a bike that's really not going to break the bank. Now, look, I would probably be a lot more excited about adding that XSR 900 if I didn't already have a bike that rides basically the same way. And so that wouldn't be one that I would necessarily be looking at. So, oh, wait a minute. I just saw something from Ryan. I've had a tragedy happen to me to the stable. 2 bikes got wrecked while on the trailer moving. Oh, lost 2 bikes in a car. Damn. Everybody okay? How's the people side of that equation looking? Everybody good? Well, hopefully it works out that you're okay and everybody's okay and you get taken care of on that. That sucks. Well, sorry to hear that, man. Well, hey, look at the bright side, I guess. I mean, there's, oh, well, that sucks. He sprained his arm. Well, look, at least everybody made it out okay. Stuff can be replaced. Oh, the Gixxer and the Scout. Well, that sucks. So middleweights, since we're talking about middleweights, and since I've recently parted with a middleweight in that GSXR 750, I want to talk about that for a minute too. I know that there was, and I was too, very excited to bring that bike to you guys. But the more that I started diving into that bike, the more, Ryan's saying on a positive note, the big bore gets in the Royal Enfield. Nice. Look, love me some Gixxer 750. Gixxer 600 is really good too. But there's a bike that I rode that, well, let me just go ahead and bring it up for you. And this will, I think you guys, some of you may already have an idea for what I'm looking at. So let me go ahead and dive in, go ahead and do a screen share. And we'll just do that. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to go through the why behind the what that this thing is, and then dive into potential options to do with this bike. So look, it's a ZX6. Little wonder, right? I mean, ZX6 globally is an incredibly popular bike. And I hate to say it, but I'm a big middleweight fan. But where I got a little bit cross with the GSXR family of middleweights is I made the mistake of riding this bike. The reason why this bike is so good is because it blends the GSXR 600 and 750 together in one bike. You get a single direction quick shifter, impeccable throttle response, and you get a bike that it's every bit as lively as you could possibly hope a middleweight to be. And it's got basically almost all the power of a GSXR 750 once you really start putting the screws to this thing. And one of the things I liked the most about it was that I could, when I was riding the ZX6, I could feel myself going, this is what the Gixxer needs to be. This is what it has to evolve into, because this is what people are looking for. When I've done the research into, which bikes are getting the most positive vibes, the Cowie gets a ton, and Gixxers unfortunately just keep getting the shit into the stick, really, because they haven't been updated. And with the 2026 bikes not having any updates whatsoever, it's got a lot of folks getting really, I don't know, they're getting a little bit sour. And not that that really matters, but this thing is going to be pretty nasty, and it might be something that I might be able to make happen as soon as tomorrow, but we'll see how this all ends up working out. But I'm a big fan of this bike, and there are a ton of you guys that are a big fan of it too. And I am, I'm very much looking forward to bringing this bike to you if I can make everything work out. Sam's trying to integrate some older parts into a latest build. I've done that before. Ryan's saying, hey, Skids, my heart hurts the most. Yeah, losing a couple of bikes is always super tough. Oh, speaking of bikes, and one thing I didn't show you guys, it was kind of gross. So what y'all didn't see, so anyway, let me just, I'm going to leave this right here for a minute while I'm talking about the blue bike. And it's kind of weird. So I was setting the rear preload. And when I was setting rear preload on the GSXR thou, the tool slipped and my finger, the very tip right here by my fingernail, went basically at warp speed right into the heel guard. And as you know, you're turning this thing and you go to put force on it and something slips, you know what happens next. I don't know if you know this, but this part of your finger bleeds like crazy. Anyway, I hit it. Of course, I immediately became very floral with my interpretation of the English language. And in the process, I went, like this and shook my hand. And I ended up splattering the side of that GSXR 1000 with my blood because it was squirting out of my finger. So it quit bleeding though immediately, and I hit it with some alcohol and everything's cool. But this is funny because I have already Dr. Pepper grenaded that bike, which I still can't believe I did. And all apologies still to the guys over at Stubbs. I had to clean up like 5 bikes and it still wasn't good enough. So I had to put my work in on that day. I then proceeded to gack my finger and, anyway, it made a mess. But anyway, I guess it's mine now. And it's one of those things where it's funny because the blue bike and I are like just so much more gelled than me and the red bike ever really kind of were. And I don't know why that is. I am going to keep making a few more adjustments to the suspension on that bike. I've got it set up pretty good right now. And I recently put a video out going over where that bike ended up. I was able to play around with it today. And I didn't get to play with it as much as I would have liked to. But I will go on record as saying this. I like that it's a bit more of a committed posture to the bike. And I like that I've got a little bit more weight over the front tire. So there's that. Now, see, you guys, Ryan, you guys are chatting about the new CF Moto stuff. I may be able to put eyes on one of those tomorrow. I am going to be going to a dealership that, if this works out the way that I'm hoping, is going to end up being who I end up getting the Kawasaki from. I don't know that yet, but we'll find out soon enough. And if things work out, then I'll let you guys know. I got to do some more research into this bike, but I'm here to tell you right now, it's really good. So I know I'm bouncing around a little bit. But getting back to the 1000, let me go ahead and X out of this. Getting back to the GSXR 1000, that R model, that bike and I are coming together nice. I'm going to try to get some practice time in with that bike this weekend, and not really going to try to, absolutely crush it, but I do want to get a little bit more time in the seat on that bike with the newer settings. So I was real confident with the red bike, and I'm becoming even more confident than that with this blue bike. Ryan saying dish the green and get with the moto. I'll tell you what, we might be seeing those, might have eyes on some of those CF Motos tomorrow, because one of the dealerships I'll be going to sells CF Moto. And that 750, by the way, all like, no kidding, that bike is, oh, right. Yeah, let's get the 750 SS. Good call. Hold, please, gentlemen. Hold, please. Hold, please, please, please. It is coming. It's coming up. It's coming up. Come on. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. Oh, it's not on there official yet. Okay, hang on. Hang on. They've got the 675. Hold on. Hold on. Bear with me. CF Moto 750 SS. Let's do images just so we can see what we're looking at. Oh, it's killing me. All right, we're pulling it up under Cycle World, I think. Yeah, here we go. Looks like they've got. Let me just get the image up, and if I can find a different one, I will. Okay, there we go. So here's the thing. It's a hell of a good looking bike. One thing that you cannot take away from these guys is they are committed to the craft. All right. And I know that on the spec sheet, these bikes are kind of on the heavy side, but I wouldn't necessarily let that bother too much, only because, look, you're not going to get the best of all worlds with a bike like this at the price point that you're looking at. But it's got all the right parts in all the right places. And I'll go so far as to say this: bikes like this and manufacturers like CF Moto, they have a nasty habit of putting mainstream manufacturers on notice. And again, I got my fingers pointed at you, Suzuki. My beloved Suzuki has got to do something with the outgoing 600 and 750. I say outgoing, the current model 600 and 750. And here's the problem that I'm seeing out there in the webosphere. The problem that I'm seeing with these bikes, the Suzukis, is that there are so many guys that love them to death, but they want the latest version of that bike. And the issue that a lot of guys have with that, get this thing plugged in, the issue that a lot of guys have with that old school bike is that it doesn't too much to put a TFT screen in it, to make it look more like the 1000, to make it have a quick shifter or something along those lines. And the other issue is that look how long that bike has been in production. I mean, I think that bike's production run is now, I mean, the tooling is old enough to vote, I think, at this point. It's just kind of weird the way that it worked out that way. But then you have up and comers like CF Moto that, well, in their own world, they're not up and comers, but here they are. And it's a hell of a bike for those that are looking for a bike that is very capable and very different. Let me do this. Let me look, see if I can find another 750 for you guys. That visual's kind of, here we go. This is better. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. All right. So this is Bike Junction. Let me see if I've got some good picks in here for you. This one's good enough. This'll work just fine. No, I don't want any special offers. Okay. This one pulled back up so you can get a better view. Here we go. So this is a better view of that CF Moto bike. And look, the 750, it is a damn good looking thing. Nobody on the Suzuki side of the aisle is asking for the GSXR 600 or 750 to look like that necessarily. I mean, it doesn't have to have all of that, but something. Maybe the TFT screen, maybe a quick shifter. Leave the analog clocks if you want. Hell, even leave the LCD speedometer. But give us something that is going to be a bit more, because the problem is the competition that it's going to be going up against all have the latest in technology. Again, we're talking about CF Moto 750, but you've got the usual suspects that show up to this bar fight. You've got the 636, which is never to be taken lightly. Matter of fact, it's not uncommon for 676s to show the pair of GSXRs its ass on straightaways. You've got the R9. That bike's got more technology than the freaking space shuttle, but yet you still have somewhat of an affordable price, and it's got that CP3 engine. So tons of techno. Oh, and hella badass brakes. Those Brimbos on the XSR 900, guys, if you watch my ride along video and review on that bike, I can't seem to get over the brakes on that thing. I won't shut up about them because they're really good. And I kept envisioning that bike with lower bars, a couple of different changes, and next thing you know, that thing is pretty badass. And did I mention that it had a set of S22s on it? I think they come with the S22. Anyway, I digress. The fact of the matter is that CF Moto is doing some things that other manufacturers just don't have they just don't, they're too conservative. And when you've got a company like CF Moto that can make changes on the fly based on customer input, it's like you're a part of the think tank that made your bike. And so for the next 5 or 8 years, guys, don't be surprised to see multiple iterations, excuse me, of that, the 750 from CF Moto coming out, just because they're making these running line changes that make sense because people are saying, I want this, or I would like that. I would also not be surprised to see lighter weight versions of this bike start to hit the bricks. And once they do, it's going to be good. And I want to say this thing's putting out, what is it, like 110 horsepower or something like that? It's not necessarily a barn burner, but it doesn't have to be. Look, again, let me remind you guys about all the different super middleweights that are in the class. And you start to look at it and you go, I kind of get it, you know? So it starts to make a whole lot of sense. And listen, guys, I ride a lot of different motorcycles. You're not going to feel that weight on this bike, not in the way that you think. In fact, if you're just bored to tears and you want to know what this bike is going to be like to ride, but you don't have a CF Moto dealership near you, listen, go grab the keys to a GSX-S 750. I just did a ride review on one. 462 pounds. Sound familiar? 100 and, I don't know, 10, 12, 20 horsepower, whatever it is. It's right there within the noise, and I get it. Motorcycle horsepower is different, but the point that I'm making is that you've got an analog for this bike already that you can go ride in the GSX S750. And that is a phenomenal bike to ride. I loved every moment that I had with it. In fact, it was right after I rode that bike that somebody bought it. So there is a lot to be said for where these modern bikes are coming from. And in the States and in other parts of the world where these up-and-comers are really starting to get moving, be on the lookout, boys, because it ain't going to be that long from today where you're going to be seeing these bikes rocking it pretty much everywhere you've seen Japanese bikes for the longest amount of time. All right, let me check on you guys real quick. Ryan, the KLR 650. Oh, yeah. They've been around forever and ever and ever. Ryan said he loved the 675. Very torquey bike. CF Moto. Absolutely. Now, I can fit a CF Moto next to the Harleys. Yes, you can. And listen, look, CF Moto has, they're going to do what they do. They're going to get started. They're going to get a footprint. Next thing you know, they're going to start upping their game, upping their game, upping their game. And that void between CF Moto and mainstream Japanese manufacturers, that void's going to start to get narrower and narrower and narrower. And just remember that when the void looks like this, super wide, like you can't even see one side, okay? It's easy to poke, prod, and make fun of and say whatever you want to say. But when that other manufacturer starts to come more into view, the closer they get, the closer they are going to remain to be. It's not like they're going to get close and move out. So yeah, these things are going to end up being synonymous. Chinese bikes are going to end up being synonymous with the Japanese stuff. It's just going to happen. And look, don't get it twisted. There's a lot of Chinese manufacturers that are making bikes in different markets for Japanese, American, and everybody else's markets to begin with. So it goes for the Indian stuff too. Oh, Ryan saying it begs the question: if CF Moto wasn't coming in so strong, would we have the CB1000 or CB750 Hornets? Even Honda's on notice. Well, that's a good question. And there are other bikes that are out there that are getting heavy discounts too. And it's weird that now we're more or less in this range where, certain bikes have to cost a certain amount and have to have a specific run of technology, or they are no longer viable in the marketplace, or at least they won't be for too long. And as you have Chinese bikes out here like this thing, the 675, you've got decent technology packages. Don't worry about the rider aids or any of that, which is coming, but you've got all the right technology going into these bikes. Think about it for a minute. What would it be? I mean, would it be any different? I mean, would you expect these guys to not keep up in their game up? And yeah, it put a lot of manufacturers on notice. You got the Hornet 750, arguably one of the best. Some people would call it the best, although that's very controversial. I mean, I'm a big fan of the V-Strom and of the GSX-8R and 8S. But that Hornet's right there with them, if not better, if you look at outright power. And it's a budget bike. The Hornet 1000 is a budget bike, and it's got Öhlins components. And oh, by the way, you want to talk about a bike that's nasty. Look at that new retro that's going to be based on the Hornet. That thing is nice looking. It might not be all that popular with a lot of folks, but for the ones that see it and fall in love with it, they're not going to be able to do without it. And that also kind of brings up other bikes that are in the mix. Look at what Suzuki had to do to keep pace with the GSX S1000s. I mean, that bike dropped $1,500 overnight. Hell, they're not even making the GSX S750 anymore. So it's definitely something to think about. Did this bike have that much of an effect? I don't know, but I can tell you this. It certainly did affect something somewhere. Oh, Ryan saying, B, then show the 500 SR Voom. We did that, didn't we? Hold on a second. Let me pull that one up. Hold, please. Hold, please. So this is another one. Hang on just as. Oh, we didn't do this one. I am so sorry. That is my bad. There's another one that's going to be a real problem moving forward. We're talking about Japanese bikes now. Dude, are you kidding me with this thing? Seriously. Look, I don't even care how much power it makes. It's a 500cc four-cylinder. It looks like that. That is going to be a real problem for a lot of guys because it's not going to be crazy expensive. And it's going to be a fun-ass bike. So we got 500 kilowatts. What does that translate to? About 85 horsepower? 90 horsepower, something like that? I mean, that's right in there with the best of them. What is that? Somebody do that conversion. Hell, let's do kilowatt to horsepower. Hold, please. Let me jump over there. K-dubs to horse-pers. And what did we say that one was? That one was 58. Okay, I was a little bit proud of that. 77 horsepower. Okay, doesn't sound like a whole lot, does it? Well, here's the thing. This is an A2 bike. And by the way, you can say, it's not that much power. Look, it's plenty of power if you're coming up. And it's only a 500. Keep in mind, there's the smaller, these bikes aren't making a ton of power. Anyway, but think of it like this. This bike could be your first bike. This bike could be the bike that you buy as your first bike in overseas, and on the European market, you've got A2 compliant bikes. Here you go. This bike pretty much is right off the showroom floor, a nice sporty looking bike that is immediately A2 compliant. It's not going to break the bank. It's going to handle well. It's going to be safe. You're going to get a ton of features with this bike that you might not get. I don't know. Let me scroll this one down a little bit. There we go. Now, what this thing is talking about is being able to support 81 horsepower through the ram air ducts and all of that. That's great. And maybe you can tune it up to that. But here's the thing. There you have a bike that is going to be somebody's first bike, and it's going to be sporty, and it's not going to be one of the mainstream manufacturers. That can be a bit of a problem because a lot of folks, the first bike you get, that first brand, there's going to be some level of loyalty to it. And if not, it's going to buzz nostalgia like crazy for you, right? So you tell me, is that a bit of a problem? I would say that it is. My very first bike was a PW50. Always have loved Yamahas. Doesn't mean I've bought a ton of Yamahas, but I can tell you this, I know what a Yamaha is. And if young folks are going out buying these bikes, they're going to know damn good and well what the CF Moto Voom is. So, hell of a bike. Let me catch back up with you guys. Oh, Ryan's saying 50 torques ain't nothing to laugh at. No, it's plenty, especially when you're first getting started. You're just getting your feet wet, man. You're getting your spatial orientations down. You're getting your closing distances figured out. You know, you're going through your braking drills and you're doing all the stuff that I'm putting out there, practicing the fundamentals. But you're not going to break the bank. And that's another thing. I mean, let me scroll down here. I mean, look at this. Are you kidding me? That thing it's a steel frame bike. Dude, that's awesome. 194 kilograms as far as the curb weight. This is one thing I want to show. First of all, are you kidding? That is a good looking shot. I mean, you got to admit that's styled out really well. But this is something, and I'm being honest with you guys, this is something that manufacturers have got to get through their freaking heads. You've got younger people, smaller people, the ladies, they're riding motorcycles too. And look at this. You've got optional seat height, 795 millimeters, 785 millimeter, and 815 millimeter seat heights. Okay, what that means is that 800 millimeters is roughly, 31 inches there, giveabouts. You've got a bike that you can option out as a low seat height bike. That's a major thing, but you've also got a taller seat height that you can go with. For the taller folks, that matters. It matters a lot because now you have the ability to adjust the bike to the newer rider. You can tailor this bike out. 194 kilogram curb weight, that's wet weight. All right, that bike is going to be, that is, I mean, dude, what is that? Just the other side of 420 pounds, 415 pounds? That's really good, guys. Let me also show you this. Oh, wait, before I get off of this part of the page, this is another area where this bike is going to be a bit of a problem for the other manufacturers, for youngsters. This thing's got a clutchless upshifter, just like the ZX6. Are you seeing are you picking up what I'm putting down here? This is a hell of a set of options here. So getting back to it, steering dampener, dual channel ABS. You got 2 modes of traction control. The ESS, the emergency stop signal, that means you're braking on the bikes and the brake lights flash. That's a safety feature. Look, it's got the angel eyes too. Come on, give me a break. It's a good looking bike, man. Here's where things get just, I mean, come on with this bike. This thing has got a TFT screen that's about the size of like a chick's hand, man. This thing is big, sitting just proud right there in front of you. And this is the view from the cockpit, or view looking down onto the cockpit. I mean, I'm sorry, but damn, it's a hell of a good value type of a bike. And look, here's something else to consider with the CF Moto. Again, we're not talking about crazy numbers here. Maximum torque, 49 Newton meters. That's, at least in this delivered form, that's not a ton, but it's enough to get you around. It's enough to have fun. It's enough to learn with. And you want to talk about a neat bike to learn the basics, to learn the fundamentals on. It's got a humongous TFT screen. I'm sorry, but I'm having a hell of a time finding fault with this thing. I mean, it's a good looking bike. I like the very Ducatista-esque exhaust on this thing. We've got all kinds of accessories. So anyway, you know, the only thing that's separate, and this is the other kind of funny thing, it does have the chromoly frame, and you go, oh, okay, well, that's just going to add a lot of weight, and oh yeah, but it also reduces a ton of cost. And by doing so, you also have a bike that's pretty freaking rugged. I mean, steel is a lot more forgiving than aluminum, and these are beginner bikes. So again, tell me where the problem is with this bike. The people just want to poo-poo all over the CF Moto brand. Like, I don't have a girl working this corner with this level of bike, but I can tell you this, if I was a kid and I'm seeing this and these bikes aren't costing much more than about $4,500 or $5,500, what would you be buying? You know, it makes it pretty difficult to have a complaint when we're talking about bikes like this. What do these things cost? Let me do this. Bear with me here just a second, guys. Are we going to get this one anyway? CF Moto 500. Let me see something here. Okay, so let me get back over here. I'm going to share this screen. I was pretty close in price. Got to admit, that's pretty good. I think that's this one here. Okay, so looking at around, oh, let me get me back up, unless I didn't. Yeah, $5,800 for that thing. You know, in China, it's going to be about $5,300. But here in the States, about $5,800. And for the price of a pit bike, you can have something that does that kind of stuff. And look, this kind of motorcycle is not out of the ordinary. Like, let me just remind you guys, $5,500 bike that's going to be around, you know, 45, 48 horsepower, whatever it is. Does that sound familiar to any of you Triumph guys out there? Because that is what your new Thruxton 400 is going to be. It's what the Speed 400 is. It's what the Scrambler 400 is. And all of those bikes are checking in at roughly the same price. The motorcycle from Triumph, it's not like that's built in England. That's built by Bajaj in India. So again, the roughly $5,500-ish bike, plus or minus not much, is a hell of a market. And with this thing, you get all of those features too. It's going to put a lot of manufacturers on notice, and it's going to be driving a lot of folks into dealers that maybe wouldn't have even considered buying a bike. Now they will because of that machine. Let me check in with you guys real quick. Let's see. Ryan saying that I understand exactly why you're loving on it. Well, and the funny thing is that bike is going to represent a lot of different things to a lot of young people out there, and you need young people riding motorcycles. Without new riders, we're not going to get anything new from these manufacturers. Let's see. Bear with me just 1 second. Oh, I just picking up on you guys randomly. Man, I would love to get a 2020 R1. Don't know why that year. Just don't want to pay what people are wanting. Dude, ain't that the truth? Used bikes have gone through the roof when it comes to costing. I mean, it's not like motorcycles are cheap, but I know down here, man, people love their sport bikes. I say, man, talk about a thumper. Right. My son is Team Green all the way. I was raised in Yamaha. I tried to convert him, not going well. Understood. I was never really super brand loyal. Always liked Yamaha, always liked Kawasaki, had a thing against Honda and Suzuki for a while when I was a kid. But I mean, I've always kind of been Team Green leaning for a while. Oh, Ryan's saying that CF Moto is they're gonna eat the tariff and not mark up. Cool. Changing my name back. Sam's liking the old 88. 88s are great. They sound amazing. Ryan say, I'm going to make him do it. Get the Voom. Man, I don't know. I'm probably not going to get that one. Although I will say that, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it would do well. Ryan saying CF's definitely doing it right. Yes, they are. Based on the pricing, I mean, it really is good. I might have to skip through some of you guys because I'm going to have to jump off here in just a minute. Bear with me here just a second. Ryan saying, "Oh, the Gixxer, the 675 SS versus the Gixxer insurance was $50 difference." Okay, so let's talk about insurance costs. I'm glad you brought that up. So here's something that I'm just gonna kind of lay out for you. There's a lot of research I've been doing on this bike. Okay, so check this out. Insurance rates per bike are sometimes it just doesn't make sense, right? And I mean, it does if you're in the insurance business, but hang on, let me find this thing. Where in the hell is that? Bear with me. Hold on. I'm having a technicality on this. Okay, there we go. Golly, it took me forever to get to that. Okay, ZX6R. What separates ZX6R from GSXR 600, GSXR 750? Is there anything? I mean, aside from the manufacturer and other whatnots. Here's what I want to break to you guys. The insurance on this bike is substantially less than on a GSXR 600 or on a GSXR 750, to the tune of, I mean, I don't want to get into too many details because everybody where they live is going to be different, but it's about 2/3 the price, maybe a little bit more than that. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's less money to buy the bike and it's less money to insure the thing. I mean, this thing is kind of selling itself right now. Anyway, it's kind of goofy when you start breaking it down like that, but it is true. Ryan saying his duck was 2 to 3 times higher than the Street Glide. That's crazy. Ryan wrote a 450 SS. He liked it. Nice. Ryan said, I love them all now. I don't hate anybody. That's the thing. I have had some motorcycles that I would probably not want to ride again, or I wouldn't choose to ride again, but I've never had, like, any of the bikes that I've been riding, guys. I have been very happy just being on that bike and having fun with it. So that's the thing. If I'm on 2 wheels, guys, I'm usually having a really good time. Ryan saying, love my Gixxer 750. It sounded amazing. Yeah, just lost it. That sucks, man. Oh, Ryan saying, that's it, B. We live in Tejas, man. Insurance is crazy high here. Yeah, it is. Or I was saying, loving the Suzukis. Oh, yeah. I love mine, man. I mean, you're not going to find anybody that is more pro Suzuki, especially pro Suzuki GSXR 1000 than me. I like those bikes a lot. Right. My family has less expensive car insurance on similar vehicles. Yeah, in Missouri. I know it's crazy. We get kind of hammered down here. But with that, guys, I do have to wrap it up. I got to get back to work. But anyway, updates on the channel. Possible ZX6R joining the fleet here. We'll find out here in the next couple of days if I can make a deal work out. It's nothing against the GSXR middleweights. It's just that, man, that ZX6R impressed me that much. It really was that good. And the other thing, I know we might have been talking about I was going to talk about the 2026 GSXR 1000. I was kind of blanked out. So we were going to talk more about that later. And we're going to start talking about that bike a little bit more. I want to break down the differences between that bike and the latest bike. Again, there's some confusion as to the camshaft profiles and how that's going to affect final output. There's a lot of guys saying, look, it's got bigger throttle bodies, a bigger exhaust valve, revise this and revise that. It's going to be making more power. And I got news for you. After diving into this and talking to some other folks about it, that's not really what's going to happen with that bike. So at any rate, we'll get on to that one on the next chat. And hey, Rob's saying, first time on the stream, I loved it. Well, thank you for stopping by, man. We try to do this on Tuesdays and Saturdays, sometime around between 9 and 9:30 Central Standard Time is when we'll start to kind of roll into this. And, yeah, that's kind of how this works. It's a background noise generator for a lot of folks. This channel, especially the live show, is my opportunity to interact with you guys directly, let you guys know what's going on behind the scenes, different bikes that I'm looking forward to riding, which we didn't even get to in this show. Different bikes that I have absolutely hard line set up for me to ride and review. And which bikes are going to possibly make it in or make it out of the fleet. I think the Blue Gixxer that's going to be that is really my personal bike. And so I'm going to keep playing with that, getting it set up. But Anyway, we'll talk more about that on Saturday because that's when the next live is going to be, sometime between 9 and 9:30 Central Standard Time. You know, when I can do it, I'll do it. Hopefully the feed works well. Looks like we had a good feed tonight, so that is a good thing. But with that, guys, I got to wrap it up. Listen, get out there and do something cool for somebody because chances are they need it way more than you know. And with that, guys, appreciate you hanging out with us. We will catch y'all on the next one. Take it easy.